Hi Flosstube, Pam here. Stitchingbetweenthelines.blogspot.com, Instagram as well. Today is Friday, March 10th. I'm back in blustery, cold, snowing New York State. But because I'm home, I have lots of things to show you. I need to just tilt this a little bit. Okay. I took some framing in to be framed before I left, so that's done. I showed you one thing. I did not show you a second thing because I didn't have it with me. It was, I don't know where, somewhere else in the house when I made my last video. So first I will show you what we've all seen pre-framing. It's Prairie Schoolers Village Sampler, book number 15. So this is an oldie. There it is in its framed glory. Pretty frame. Nice, enhances the kind of colors in the piece. And as you recall, when I showed you, I noticed when I was holding it up that I hadn't put the little straight stitches in for the clothesline. But what I didn't know until I was standing at the counter at the frame shop, at the cross stitch store, getting framed, is... All right, first of all, when I was stitching this, I was good and tired of doing houses, right? I think many of us get tired of the houses. There's so many houses and things that we like. And so I was kind of doing a little hopping around. I was working a little bit in here, and I'd finish a length of thread, and I'd come up here, and I'd finish a length of thread, and I'd go back down. And if I finished a color, then I'd go back up and do another. So there was a lot of jumping around, and in this house I was kind of hopping around. And I forgot to do the second half of the X along the last line of the roof. That was it. That was the end of the roof. I probably had used up one length of thread and gone back over to work on the tree and things, and I was so ready to be done with roofs that I forgot. So I'm standing there picking the frame, and I saw it, and I thought, oh no, look at! And luckily, being in a cross stitch store, she had floss away bags of all kinds of colors of floss from classes and projects and whatever, and so she just got out her floss away bag of DMC 844, and I sat down and finished that off. But I was taking it, I think, the day before I left for Florida, so there really wasn't any chance I was going to take it back home and finish it and then take it back. So I was happy that I was able to fix that, because, you know, I'd be trying to figure out how to fix it post-framing, and that would be a story all its own. So anyway, there it is. Town Square, right? Is that what I said? Village Sampler. Prairie Schooler, book number 15, that I happened upon sort of in the shop we go to in Florida. We were searching through and looking through every little nook and cranny, and she had a box on the floor of all these old patterns somebody had given her, somebody had cleaned out, and she didn't feel right selling them. So she let me have it for free. Lucky day. So there it is. It was a fun stitch, you know, Prairie Schooler. We all like our Prairie Schoolers. The sun has come out. I feel like I'm in a glare, but it's not going to last because it's snowing. So it's just peaking. So then the other thing that I had finished, has charms on it, I'm sort of fixing, is Jeanette Douglas's Florida Sampler. So let's see how that's going to work. I stitched it. Oh, see, I'm not good at what fabric I used for things. How is that showing? Oh, we might have to come back to this when the sun goes away. On a piece of light blue, we're going to work at this. We're going to fight this sunshine. Can you see the light blue? It was the called for fabric was just a very neutral. And I just thought in Florida, it's all about blue skies and lots of green. Lots of blue, lots of green. So I did it on a piece of blue that made me think of the sky or some water. A piece of hand-dyed. And all the called for fibers. It was a kit. The pattern came with a fiber packet with the charms. So there's overdyes, and there's Krennic, and there is some silks in there. So it was a really fun stitch. I put this one on a frame and worked on it now and again. I don't put a lot of things on a frame, but this, where you just going row by row by row, was kind of fun. The 1/1 about killed me. Where's those Pelicans? They 1/1. There was more 1/1 if I keep looking. It was hard. I'm not a 1/1 person. I need a magnifier, so it was tedious. But it was really fun. It's fun occasionally, in my eyes, to do all those specialty stitches. And then the framing, I really had in my mind a white kind of driftwood, rugged kind of frame, but that just wasn't working. Rustic just didn't go with this. This is not a rustic picture. I'm thinking, driftwood. There's a piece of fuzz somewhere there. It just wasn't working, so we decided, and it took a while to pick this. It's double framed. It's framed in this little yellow frame and then this green frame. We decided that really brought out the green. It brought out the yellow in the beach bungalow. And, really didn't compete with any of the colors that are in it. So it really did come out nice. I'm really pleased with the end result. And it was fun. Jeanette Douglas has lots of fun samplers. My cross-stitch store that I go to often has a trunk, has had more than once a trunk show of Jeanette Douglas's pieces. And so when you go, you often end up with a piece or two, pattern or two. So I have some more. I can't stitch it in hand necessarily because of all the specialty stitches and needing to keep tension exact. So they're not the first thing I pull out, but the end result is really quite lovely. We're still battling a little glare there. So anyway, Jeanette Douglas's Florida sampler. It came out really nice. I'm happy with it. There's a cat in the room, and he's meowing at me. I don't know where he is. Oh, what are you doing? I'm sure he's wondering what I'm doing, so it's probably really that's what it's about. He's liable to come around. I don't know. You never know with him. He's been following me around all day, so we'll see. So then, anyway, I worked in Florida a little longer on my Cooler Designs Christmas Eve piece, and this is where I've gotten it. When I showed it last time, I hadn't done any of this stuff. So in the last 2 weeks, I think it's been, I have worked my way down here. This tree took me forever because it's a couple stitches of one thing and a couple stitches of something else. Are we really fighting against that glare, huh? So it needs a lot of outlining. I kind of fell off the wagon on that. I think I mentioned that last time, and I haven't put another outlining stitch in. So I'm a little tiny bit burned out on this because of the intensity I could work on it before. So I am going to put it aside. I was going to finish the children. This is the children in bed. I was going to finish this and leave only the outlining, but then I thought maybe I better leave myself some stitching so maybe I could outline and stitch and outline and stitch. So it wouldn't be only all about the outlining. So I hope that's showing. I see a lot of glare, sorry. So anyway, it's going to go away for a little bit. I pulled out my Heaven and Earth design piece and want to do another page, and I'll show you that. I started almost a year ago and I'm on page 4, so that's not really good, but I've talked before about what happened to my stitching mojo in the summer, and it was hard to get it back always. But you can only do what you can do, because I've certainly managed to make some other things. So I'm doing page 4, and I was trying to do a page a month, although that has not worked out. Not ever has there been a consecutive 2 months when I've done a page, but 4 pages in a year is not all that great, but I'll try to do better. So anyway, I brought those things to show because those are new and fun. And then I pulled out all the Prairie Schooler pieces. Well, no, not all. I'm lying now. Most of my Prairie Schooler pieces, just so we could, talk about Prairie Schooler. I'm going to move this again and see if we can fight that sound. Sound's not getting better. And then I pulled out the patterns because I really don't get rid of my Prairie Schooler patterns or anything. So one piece, I can show you the pattern. This piece is put away with all my fall decorations, so I don't have it to show you. But it's the Prairie Schooler Harvest Time, which is book number 93. And I stitched the Harvest Time village. The same village occurs in a number of seasonal things. So the Prairie Schooler Village Harvest Time is stitched. If fall rolls around and I get it out, I'll be able to show you. But the first piece I actually have with me to show you is January, which is book number 177. So there's that. There's the book. I stitched this one. I'd really like to stitch this one. So we'll see how fast I can get to any of that. So there's that. It's a cute, January. I had it out. I put it away. Their pieces are so fun to stitch. So, and a fun distressed looking frame. So that's that. And then I did, a number of years ago when Shakespeare's Peddler was in business, she would do some Prairie Schooler pieces. She would do a conversion to be overdyed threads. And when she had this whole group of them, it was one of those things, you see them, you love them, it's expensive, you don't buy it, and then you keep seeing it and you keep loving it, and then finally one day you just buy it. So I bought the frames of the whole thing, and there were 4 pieces, and then I put them away in a box, and they were in that box for probably 2 years, and I thought, no, you didn't invest that kind of money to put them away in a box. So the first one was Weatherwise, and it was both of these pieces. It was the Red Skies at Night, Sailor's Delight, and it was the one about a sun shower won't last. I don't know what it says. I'm reading it backwards. Sun shower won't last half an hour. So both of those I stitched using the conversion to overdyed threads. Oh, did I have them out of order? I did. So here's the Red Sky at Night. There's variation in the fibers. I'm not really sure there's enough that I wouldn't have just enjoyed it equally in the colors it called for. Probably the most variation is in these orange clouds in the back. So, and then the frame was the one that she sold with it. It's kind of crackle and it's really pretty. I really like it. And then the sunshiny shower one. Again, there's just not a whole lot of variation in the threads. Probably in the clouds. Probably there's the most in the clouds. But that was fun. I like crows. I like weather. I like birdhouses, and I like barns and that kind of thing. So this was fun. The same kind of frame. This like crackly finished frame. Then I did, this was another one of the conversions bought at the same time from Shakespeare's Peddler. A Farmer's Almanac, which is book number 144. See what's showing up. It talks about, the number of days. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. 31 the other dates, excepting February 28th. But in leap year, we assign February 29th. So it was just a fun little ditty kind of thing you learn in school. So that one in my pile of goodies. I think I liked this frame the best. And then, there we go. It was pretty, very pretty colors. I think my window panes are a little wonky there. That's what happens. I love the little farm animals. She just does, Prairie Schooler did farm animals really well. Another barn. I always like barns. So there's that. And then the final one, I couldn't find the pattern, was March. But we all know, her monthly things. But again, this was done with a color conversion. And I bought the frame at the same time. This one I struggled with because whatever the conversion was for the letters and the grass, the letters got lost in the grass. I ended up taking various things out in that lawn a couple times. And of course, because of the reflection,